So now that we've talked about the pagination code, we're going to go ahead and apply it. And I've tried to highlight the areas that you need to add. And so we're going to start by modifying our student controller index. So let us go in here. And I'm going to start by adding, actually, I need to add. And you can either use Nougat or you can use the console, but we do need to add the page list MVC. So I think you all know how to use Nougat, so I'm going to use the console. We've used this, I think, one other time to install. I'm going to move this up and make it a little higher. Okay, so once you see that PM prompt, we can do install dash package paged list.mvc. Okay, so that is now installed. And I'm going to run a build. And it succeeded. So now I'm going to go ahead and insert the using statement for page list because it's going to know what I'm talking about at this point. And then down here, I'm going to change my parameters for the index because I need now a current filter in addition to a search string. And I also need a page number if there is one coming from the view. Then I need another property for my view bag to store the current sort order. And right below all those parameters, I'm going to check to see if they have specified a new search string. Because anytime they have a new search string, so it's not null, that means we're going to be on page 1. So if they have not specified a new search string, then the search string is whatever the current filter is. And so we're going to create a property here in our view bag for that current filter. And we'll just put the search string in it. So the search string is either going to be filled in or we're just going to take the current filter and fill it in. So either way, it's going to be filled in so we can put whatever's in there in that view bag current filter. So that kind of takes care of ensuring that the sort order and the filter persist on multiple pages. Then at the bottom, right above our return view statement, we need to add some information for paging. So the first thing we're going to do is create a page size variable, and we're going to set it equal to 3. So what this does is it indicates that we have 3 rows per page. And we're setting the number small because we don't have a lot of data to test. In the real world, you'd probably have a lot more than 3 on a page. And then for the page number, this is the current page number. We are basically going to check to see if we got something from the view. And if we didn't, we're just going to use a 1. And now, because we are using page list, instead of using students.toList, we have to use students.toPaged list. And we need to pass along the page number and the page size as parameters. And let's save this. And then our next step is to modify our index. So instead of using IEnumerable, now we have to use paged list dot I page list. And we also need a using statement, paged list dot MVC. And we need a link to pull in the page list CSS. Now, if I was going to do this on every single one of my pages, I would probably throw this in the layout, but this is the only view that we're adding it to. So putting this CSS in this view makes sense. Now, we are going to have to make a couple little modifications, one to the form. And we're going to specify index and student controller. And we do want it to use the get form method because that will allow us to see it in the URL, and we could bookmark the filter and page that way. And because now we're dealing with multiple pages, we do want the current filter to display in the search box on the second, third, fourth pages. Okay, that way they still know a filter is applied. So that is where we're going to put the current filter that we stored in the view bag. And it needs to display as a string. And then the other change that we have to make now, because page list does not support strongly typed helpers, we got to change the display name for here. So it's no longer a strongly typed helper. So instead of connecting it to the model, we're just going to tell it to display first name. Now we don't want to change the data portion because that does need to be strongly typed. It has to come from the model. We're just displaying or changing the display name. I want to make sure you guys understand that. It's just this line up here. And we didn't have to change the action links because they're not typed at all. Then at the bottom, this is where the little page information is going to display. So below the table, let's throw in a line break here. And then what we want it to do is display what page we're on. So we're going to say page, and then we're going to throw in some razor code here at model.page_count. If that is less than model.page number, then we're on page 0, right? If our count is less than the number. Otherwise, we want it to display the page number out of the total. So we're going to say model.page number of model.page count. So it's either going to say 0 of however many pages, or it's actually going to say a page number. Okay, and then it's going to give us the total number of pages. And then below that, we need an action link. So we're going to do at html.pagelist pager model url.action index new, and now we're going to have all those parameters in here. Oops, yeah, current sort. And then we're going to have current filter. All right, important that you spell everything right. So we've got our parameters, page, sort order, and filter. Actually, that could probably come up here. Okay, so this is our action link. This is our page number. Let me save everything. Hopefully I did not do a typo. Let me do a build here. And let's run it. All right, so immediately you should see 3 rows of data, because that's what we told it in the controller that we wanted. And if we hit the buttons, it should take us to each page. Now let's do a sort order. All right, descending order. Should be keeping that, and it is. Let's go by enrollment date. Yep, so it's got 2002 and 2005. Let's reverse it. So now we have 2005 at the beginning and 2002 at the end, so that seems to work. Let us try, let me try to think of somebody who would have multiple pages. So I just did A, so I could get more than one page, and it should persist here. And then if I change it on this page, okay, so you can see that it did now flip us back to page 1. So it is working. Okay, so at this point, make sure you've tested all of this. And as long as everything is working, we are going to move on to grouping.